We all flirt with the dark side, and that's okay. That's part of being, but you have to literally have to balance and whatever that means to you. So again, going back to like what you were saying though with Anakin and getting married, he would have been okay because he could have found balance in between the push and pull of selfishness and selflessness. And that's something in space fantasy, Star Wars, and in real life we all have to do. And I think that's a beautiful message that's throughout all the movies of kind of this great philosophy of life being like, we all want to be Jedi. We all, hopefully, most of us, strive to be Jedi. But you're going to fall. You're going to stumble. You're going to have your bad days where you're mean. But you have to balance and find that balance within yourself.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome back to the Choosing Joy podcast. It's me, Jodi Lynn Turpin, as usual. Today I have on a guest I've been waiting for a long time. So I've already done 68 episodes. This man has helped me edit the podcast. He has given me so much advice about doing podcasts because he has his own podcast and is already 460 episodes in. I have Jason Gibner, artist, all-around Star Wars nerd and fan and cool guy. We've known each other for a while, and he's here today to talk about a bunch of stuff. Welcome, Jason.
Oh, thank you, Jodi. I'm so happy to do this. So happy to be on Choosing Joy with you. This is great. Thank you.
I know. I've been waiting for a long time. I feel like you really helped me get over, I had a huge fear of starting the podcast. And you, you had posted something on Facebook. You're like, I can do some editing, for people. I was like, this is a sign. So I wrote you immediately. And then I gave you the stuff, and I think you just did such a great job editing for me. And I was so grateful because it gave me that confidence to really put everything out there. And obviously you have a lot of experience with this. 10 years with Blast Points.
Yeah. My Star Wars podcast, Blast Points, that I do with my good friend Gabe. I was, we were talking before we started recording. I really like editing your show when you need help because I learn so much. And, you've got a natural talent for talking to people too. That's the thing. When I listen to your episodes, I'm like, boy, she is just really, really good at talking with people and getting answers out of people. So no, it's a joy for me to edit, and the small part I have in your show is a real joy for me. And I'm always happy to help in any way I can.
Oh gosh, yeah. And I've asked them some questions like, what about if this happened on the podcast? And then you're like, just go with it. It doesn't,
right.
There'll be another one. And that's actually how I see things. But sometimes you need someone else to remind you, who cares? Just go with it. Just, do it. And yeah. And I want to talk more too about your podcast with Gabe. Honestly, it's huge, everyone. Seriously, you have to check it out. It's funny and quirky and all to do with Star Wars in different ways. And this has given you, this is a long time in 10 years, but so many cool opportunities with Lucasfilms, with interviews, with being on panels in Japan, California. The Japan one was super cool. I loved following those pictures. That was flipping amazing. You're so cool.
Oh, geez. Yeah. No, yeah, it's it's the opportunities we have gotten to do with doing this podcast. So it's sometimes I sometimes I have to take a step back and think about, gosh, I really did all these things, and it's really amazing, and it's part of that Lucasfilm is a really cool company that pays attention to and values the fans out there. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for all the opportunities. I don't take anything for granted ever. I'm always kind of when you get a notice from Lucasfilm, oh, we'd like you to come out and do this thing. It's always oh, really? It's oh, I still kind of blush a little bit, and it's great. It's just really, really, really honored all the time.
Yes. And putting yourself out there with a podcast, especially when you're first starting, can be really not nerve-wracking, but like you're really putting yourself out there in a vulnerable way, no matter what it is. So if it's about comedy, or if it's about like a certain subject, or yours is Star Wars, but it's funny, and you guys know so much. Oh my gosh, holy macadamia nuts. You know so much. Like, obviously, you've sent me, what do you call it? Like, videos and different things about George Lucas and Joy. So, like, even just to have those little things, I can only imagine how much you're really digging into it because it's your passion.
Yeah, it's, it really, I've loved Star Wars ever since I was very young, very 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 young. So I'm older than dirt. So I saw I saw the original film when I was the original Star Wars was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater. According to my mom, she took me and my sister. So my sister went. I'll make it as brief as possible. My sister went to a birthday party, late 70s, that was Star Wars themed. My sister's older than me, 4 years older. So she went to a Star Wars themed birthday party, but we hadn't seen the movie, and my sister didn't care. And everyone that went to this birthday party got a Star Wars action figure. And she came home, and it was a little R2D2, which I have it. Where is it? Oh, it's this right here. Oh, for people, this is excellent audio podcasting. As I'm showing this very, very
cute.
This very, very, very old R2D2 action figure. So she gave that very figure to me when I was like 3, and I carried it around everywhere. Oh, this will be cool for the podcast. And when you turn its head, it makes little noises. So I liked that. And then my mom took me and my sister to go see the original movie, and that I think that was like in '79. Because then The Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980, and it's just been, it's been nonstop ever since. But then, so then in the early 90s, I started art school, and there was another guy. My dad, I grew up in Muskegon, Michigan, on the lake on the other side of the state from where we are. And I was from one high school in Muskegon, and this guy, Gabe, was from another high school in Muskegon where my dad taught. And so we kind of knew of each other as the two guys from Muskegon. And he knew my dad because my dad taught at the high school he went to. This is 1994, and Star Wars wasn't really happening, but he and I were both obsessed with it in 94. And we were both not living near the campus of the art school in Grand Rapids, and we were like, well, why don't we get a place together? And that's Gabe. And now, boy, 30 years later, we're doing this crazy podcast, and I went off on a tangent there. I don't know.
I love a tangent.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
And everyone else does too. We like hearing like the stories like of how everything comes together. I find it extremely fascinating. What a long friendship.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, we've known each other since we were like 18. And yeah, he's got 2 kids. One of his daughter's in college now, and yeah, it's pretty wild. It's nice though, because like when we go and do events, we've known each other for so long that there's no there's no like, we know each other. We know what's up with each other. So there's no like being cool, or there's nothing to hide, And we've lived together. We lived together for years in an apartment in Grand Rapids. So we've
shout
been
out
through.
Gabe.
Yeah, shout out Gabe. Yeah.
If you're listening, hello.
Yeah. And he's a really, really humble, sweet guy, and he's incredibly smart, and he's so funny. And that was the thing where I was listening to, it was getting close to when Star Wars kind of came back in this kind of new era, and The Force Awakens and that movie. And before I went back to work, because I stayed home with my daughter for a long time, and and she was kind of like in kindergarten, I think. And I had that time during the day, and I like didn't know what to do with this time to myself, because I had spent all these years with this little baby. And I started listening to, I was like, well, what's going on with Star Wars podcasts? Because I had just gotten an iPhone, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, podcasts. What's the deal with podcasts? And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I looked up Star Wars podcasts, and I started listening to some of them. And there were some that I thought were doing really neat things. And then there were some that I was like, oh, why are they doing that? They should be doing this, Or when you talked about that, that was fun, but now this isn't as much fun. And I started already kind of curating like this idea of like a Star Wars podcast in my head of like, I bet if I did one, I could do it right. And then I asked Gabe, because Gabe is loves this thing as much as I do, and we
Mm-hmm.
kind of look at it the same way. And I know how funny Gabe is, and I was like, I sent him just like a text, and I was like, if I started a Star Wars podcast, would you want to do it with me? And he was just like, yeah, sure, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So nonchalant.
yeah. That's how he
Oh, that
rolls,
is.
though. So yeah.
I find you extremely humble too. Like, I mean, really, you are. Like, we used to do art shows together, and it seemed like we were always set up by each other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really choose your spot, but we'd always be, and the boys would just be like looking through all your pictures. Oh, you even
Yeah.
made our Christmas card that one time, remember?
Yes.
Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
cartoon. That's the
Yeah.
best Christmas card I ever sent out. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm gonna try to find a picture and I'll post it with everything.
I, I
But
haven't. I haven't seen that in years. Yeah, that would be great.
it's like a red background, and then
Yeah.
even Jude's teddy bear is in it. Remember, I said you have to
Oh,
include Teddy.
yeah, that was great.
Yes, yeah. That what a beautiful scene and people to be in. Like just the art craft world. Like everyone is like doing their own thing and unique and like has a story. Maybe I could interview every single one of the people.
You should. Yeah, really awesome people. Really, really awesome, awesome people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my kids only came for the food and then like to see cool people like you. Wait, who else did they really like? They liked, I mean, I can't remember his name, but the guy who has Kill Taupe. They
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
liked him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cause
Mm-hmm.
even though some of his stuff was a little naughty, they still, I didn't care. They just looked at it and
Yeah,
judged me.
yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about Star Wars and George Lucas. You sent me the two of his speeches. Then I went on this like rabbit hole like a month ago and then today as well. And like he speaks about happiness and purpose so much for himself, like his own story, but then also in the story of the entire Star Wars collection, like the light and the dark side and everything that it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I feel like it's a fairly recent thing, like within, well, at least since kind of doing the prequels, which isn't actually that recent, but it still feels recent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's talked a lot about, yeah, the light side and the dark side, and it kind of how it pertains to Anakin Skywalker, because that is the whole, he's the main character of the Skywalker, the first six movies. His
Mm-hmm.
presence looms large over the episodes 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, the whole thing, and it's really interesting, of happiness and joy relating to the light side of the Force. And like, what is true happiness? What is joy? And he talks about, and you watch these videos too, and you took notes. So I'm curious what your takeaway is, because I've thought about this way too much. But he talks about of true joy is giving of yourself and
Mm-hmm.
selflessness. And the whole thing of the Jedi and the Sith is the Sith are, for people that, if somebody's listening and I'm like speaking a different language here, the Sith are, the Darth Vader, the bad guys, the Emperor, and
Mm-hmm.
their whole thing is selfish, and they use the Force for them only themselves, where the Jedi use the Force to help others. And that's kind of the basic thing of the light side and the dark side, but sometimes it gets lost in all the other things that are going on in Star Wars. But it's a really interesting thing, and it's nothing new. I mean, Lucas openly admits that the concept of the Force is a catch-all for religion, of all the world's religions, and his whole thing with creating this modern mythology, which he did with the original films, was trying to get young kids interested in the things that weren't the things that you can't see, the things that you can't touch, the Force, and how tied in that all is with mythology. His mentor and incredible person, Joseph Campbell, talked quite a bit about the power of myth, literally. And I'm going off in a weird direction here, and I'm going to try and rein myself back in. But
no, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Lucas, when he was writing the original film, we're talking the early mid 70s. We're talking like 73, 74, and we can relate. The world was in a dark place at that time, and he had done THX 1138, his first film, which is a flop, which is also science fiction, but it's a very kind of dark science fiction. And he had done American Graffiti, about kind of a love letter to his teenage years, which also, weirdly, in the end, is kind of dark. And he wanted to do something positive. He wanted to do something hopeful. He wanted to do something, what he thought going into it was a kid's movie, to kind of show kids mythology and a basic thing of what essentially religion, of belief. But it grew into something more for him. As he told the story of the original trilogy, he became famous. He became very wealthy. He got divorced. He started to in the movies, as you go, especially into Return of the Jedi, that kind of concept of, oh, this is just for kids, kind of becomes more of a personal journey for him, of dealing with fathers and the power of children and forgiveness and the whole idea, of selfishness versus selflessness, and what does that really, really, really mean? There's a lot of that in the movies, and that's the thing. That's the great thing about Star Wars, is you can show it to young kids, which you have, your boys. You can show it to young kids, and they can appreciate it for all the things that young kids would find fantastic in Star Wars, which there's a lot. There's space battles, and there's cool aliens, and there's robots, and it's fun, and it's fast paced, and it's goofy and silly. But the neat thing, though, is that you can watch them again as an adult. And if you pay attention, if you let yourself pay attention, you can look at it and think like, oh, boy, he's actually saying quite a bit about quite a bit in these movies. Like there's levels upon levels upon levels of things going on in these movies. And I think that's why they last. And I think that's why they continue to resonate, because so many things, like, oh, do you remember that one movie that came out? Oh yeah, I kind of remember that, but no one can ever say that I kind of remember a Star Wars movie. Like those movies, if you let them in, they will just sit in your head, and you can just continue to think about it. And that's kind of what I think is beautiful about those movies. Did I answer your question?
Agree. Yes, you did. And you gave me like 4 more questions to ask you, so get ready. Okay. So, yeah, I did take a lot of notes, because I find joy, the light and the dark of all things, very fascinating, because we need both in that balance. So, the dark side, that's selfish, angry, hate, and it leads to in the end, a lot of suffering. That's
Mm-hmm.
the Sith. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, I had just almost said Yetis, and I did not mean to. Jedis. That
Yeah.
was weird.
No, it's fine.
Um, so they're the true view of joy, that light. It's giving. They have overcome fear to be in that space because there's so much, they're fighting for what is the best, like the joy, that like deep understanding. And it made me think of course, Anakin. And when he was getting married to, tell me what her name is, why I can't
Padme.
think of her name. Padme.
Padme.
And Padme. And he loved her so much. But like loving someone is you can't possess or control them. That's what George Lucas says, but he tries to. So he was in this good balance and then just went the other way. And I'd love to hear like your opinion of that too, because that's a huge part of it. And then it's relating to George Lucas and his own, getting divorced and finding love again and things like that.
But what's interesting with that is, and this is something that was explored in the sequel trilogy, especially in Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. It's there in the prequels, but I feel like it was kind of missed by a lot of people. But George Lucas has talked about it too, that the Jedi you see, there's going to be the prequels, and it's going to be all these Jedi, and they're going to be doing these great heroic things, and everyone's so excited. And then you go see the Phantom Menace, and a lot of people were disappointed because the Jedi aren't quite what the Jedi Council, not really Qui-Gon Jinn, but that's a different story. The Jedi
Mm-hmm.
Council, like Yoda and Mace Windu and everything, they're not really the Jedi that I think a lot of people expected them to be. And that was done on purpose because they are flawed. They have become almost like a part of the government system. They're a tool of the government at that time. The
Mm.
Jedi aren't what they're supposed to be. And they are very stuck in their ways with rules, and rules that sometimes don't make sense. Like, you're not allowed to love.
Mm.
And Anakin kind of goes through that. And Anakin is a person, and he loves Padme, and it doesn't hurt anything, but there are these rules. And they're like, well, the Jedi are basically like, well, rules are rules. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is kind of the enforcer of these rules, because Obi-Wan is very much like, well, we should do what the council says. We should listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where did this get the Jedi? It caused their destruction, that they were bound by these rules, and they intertwined themselves with the government, which was ruled by a Sith Lord who, that's a whole nother thing. But the Sith Lord Palpatine knew that that was the way to take them down, that they would just follow
Mm.
these rules and possibly not question these rules. Like, why would you question the rules? They're the rules. So in the sequels, in Last Jedi, you have this pure character Rey, who is very, very strong with the Force, who knows next to nothing about the Jedi. She just knows she has these abilities and she wants to understand them. And you have Luke Skywalker, who blames himself for kind of all of this. He knows what happened. He knows the lineage which came before him. He knows what Obi-Wan Kenobi and what his father did and all this stuff. And Luke's basic thing to Rey is the Jedi were flawed. The Jedi caused their own destruction, which Luke is not lying. And he's like, why would you want to carry this on? Luke says in the movie, it's time for the Jedi to end. But she pushes on because she is, if you watch the movies, Rey is joyful. Rey is completely selfless. Rey is extremely giving to others. And in the end, Luke kind of sees that she's right, he's wrong, and there always was good in there. And so let's go back to the actual question you were asking about with Anakin and getting married. If the Jedi wouldn't have been so hung up on rules and let him have his joy, what would have been hurt? What would the bad thing be of Anakin marrying Padme? Nothing. They kind of forbade joy of give if Anakin giving himself to another person. The Jedi were flawed, and or else, yeah.
Yeah, I completely see what you're saying. So like Rey was more like the pure embodiment of what the light side looked like.
Yes.
And you think about that like now, like what if my joy looks this way and your joy looks that way, but we think we have to do something because of the outside noise of the government or of friends or what family has told us what is right. But we could really just be this like pure embodiment of what joy is to us. And so
Yeah.
she did that, and that's beautiful.
And that's the neat thing with those movies. She gets everything thrown in front of her of, well, you can't be a Jedi because of this, or you can't be a Jedi because you weren't trained properly, or, where you came from, or all this stuff. But she is just like, well, maybe I won't be the kind of Jedi that was in the past. Maybe I will be a new way forward, but maybe I just understand the Force in a new, pure way going forward. And maybe I can pass this on. And, like you're saying, like if we strip away all the layers of symbolism here, what that is kind of telling you, and Rey's story is really great of, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who your parents were or how you came to be where you are. What matters is what you're doing right now. Who you are at this moment. And Rey's kind of story is just believe in yourself, believe in the joy in your own heart, and you'll be okay.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yeah,
you have
because
someone
doing
like...
a certain thing.
No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking of like just as a human right now, like on Earth, like doing things for the sake of doing things because it's like that's where like maybe more like toxic positivity or things like that come from, because you think it has to be a certain way, but really we're all just looking to be joyful and abundant with our joy and everything and every aspect in our life, if we just follow our hearts to what is like what is like that pure joy, what does giving look like to each of us, which I hope it's all unique and different, because we are also unique and different. Oh,
Yeah,
what a good teacher she is.
well, and and the whole the light side of the Force of selflessness. And it's funny because like I feel like since I started doing the podcast and when I started like really really watching a lot of interviews with George Lucas, I hadn't really thought about that in terms of the Jedi and the Sith and selfishness, and Anakin's story, how that relates, where Anakin, as much as him loving Padme was a selfless kind of act, his need to make sure that she didn't die the way his mother died. The way his mother died rattled him, and his possession of her, of Padme, of I will do literally whatever it takes to prevent you from dying. I will even give myself to the dark side, pledge my allegiance to the devil, basically, to prevent you from dying. And just because he had a premonition that she would die in childbirth, and it terrified him. And that's the thing, that fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. He became so afraid of losing her that he would do anything. And the layer in that, well, then that becomes selfish. And that whole kind of thing of that's in that movie, and even Yoda talks about it in The Empire Strikes Back, of kind of letting go of the letting the Force kind of act out the way it's going to act out, or in real world, letting life just kind of happen and not being afraid of what is going to naturally happen in life. Just it kind of be here now, be here at the moment. You know, Yoda says to Luke that he doesn't want to train him in The Empire Strikes Back. And Luke is just like, well, why not? I'm here. I made it to Dagobah. Obi-Wan Kenobi said I was a Jedi. He gave me a lightsaber. Why don't you want to train me? And Yoda says all his life he looked away to the future, through the horizon, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. And I always thought that was really interesting, just to enjoy the moment, to be present, and to not worry so much about the future. I mean, we can't help it, you know, and you look at how that relates then to Anakin, of he was so concerned about losing his wife that he made this horrible decision that led to all these Jedi being killed and led to him being in this prison suit for the rest of his life, filled with rage and consumed by hatred and all this stuff. But he, you know, and Gabe and I talk about this a lot on the show, that there's a part in Revenge of the Sith where Padme, she's out on the balcony brushing her hair, and she's talking about, I want to raise our children on Naboo, and I want to do all this stuff. And Anakin should have left the Jedi Order. Anakin should have said, yeah, you know, I can still be a Force user. I can still use the Force, but maybe my future isn't a Jedi Knight, and maybe I should go and be with you. Again, being in the present, in the now. And, you know, the be here now, that's nothing new. That's George Lucas just tapping into other things and weaving it into his crazy space fantasy. But it's, you know, and that's the thing. That's kind of what makes it all kind of cool. You get these kind of fortune cookies of wisdom in these movies that resonate very, very, very deep.
I completely agree. And honestly, I feel like now people are starting to see these deeper things, like right now in this time in history, being, you know, like the year we're living in, like they're seeing more and they're like, oh, wait, I relate to this. I've done that. I maybe I did some bad things. I went over to the dark side a little bit, but I can come back onto the other side. You can always make a choice about how you want to be.
You know, and I think too that it's you know, you see Emperor Palpatine happening in real life, like things straight out of the playbook that George Lucas predicted 40 years ago, and it's scary and it's fascinating, but it's also like you can take the example of being selfless. Like just this morning, I saw food gatherers at 9:00 in the morning on the weekend, helping people, you know, who need food. Like, and you see, like in my neighborhood, there's people gathering canned foods and food for people all over the place. And, you know, that's selflessness. That's giving. That's pure joy. That's, you know, that's the thing, even in the darkest times, even in when there are Emperor Palpatines out there in real life, you know, there are real life Jedi out there who are helping and giving, you know, which is awesome.
Oh gosh, that feeling of that giving, that like light side. And you know, sometimes it's hard to give, especially when maybe someone's not grateful, or someone, you know, there's a lot of reasons that it doesn't always feel good to give, but really in general, it feels so good to give and be of service. And that is that light side. That's that joy that it just stays equal. Like that stays like, you stay like here. You know, George Lucas said in one of his, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was talking to like a college or to like a panel, but he talked about happiness being two things. So it was joy or pleasure. And so the dark side would be more going towards that, that pleasure, that it's fast. We're human. We're going to go towards pleasure. You get a new car. Oh gosh, you do this, you have a good steak or whatever, but it's more self-centered. And then the other side, joy, where you're giving, compassion. It's so powerful. And you could go for like days because of joy, that light side. He's so wise. I'm like obsessed. I mean, thank you for sharing. Thank you for even like sending me those videos. They like really put me down a good rabbit hole of like learning more about joy from someone else's perspective, which I'm always for.
Yeah, and that's and the thing too that's pleasure. What he talks about pleasure is brief, and once, and it's interesting to think about because he talks about once you have that pleasure, then you want to have it again, but you want to have more.
You have to, right?
Yeah, and
feel it.
That's Anakin. That's Anakin in the prequel films that. He is enormously gifted in the Force. He's like the Bruce Lee of the Force. He's just born gifted. He's the Mozart of the Force, and he has people telling him how powerful he is, and how good he is, and how great he is, and he's the best pilot, and he's the best swordsman, and he's all this, and he wants more. He says that straight up in the movie that he wants more. He wants more of that pleasure, more of that gratification. And it is a tricky thing to, if you feel that, and it's a human thing of,
yeah,
you get that good feeling and you're just like, oh, that felt good. Well, I want to do that again. Or I want to feel that again, but I want more of that. And if you start collecting that kind of that kind of feeling, it can get really dangerous, and your ego can get out of control, and you can, I don't know, you can start going down the path to the dark side. But
yes.
and that's the interesting thing, though, and George Lucas talks about this too, and I think this is what I was trying to say earlier too, with the Last Jedi and everything. But balance is very important, and they talk about it a lot in Star Wars. The balance of the Force, and what exactly does that mean? Well, that's something that kind of came about more, and I was talking about with like Return of the Jedi and into the prequels, where you can hone right in on Return of the Jedi, where who defeats the big bad of the universe at the end of Return of the Jedi? It's Darth Vader, with help from Luke, with Luke's love and compassion, and Luke's selflessness of refusing to fight and throwing down his lightsaber and saying, kill me if you want, but I'm going to die for this reason, that I feel that there's still good in Anakin Skywalker. And Anakin throwing the Emperor down the chute, killing him, and then coming back as a ghost at the end of the movie on Endor, showing that he is kind of forgiven in the Force and his spirit lives on and all that stuff. But that's balance. That it's George Lucas kind of saying, like, you can't be, he knows realistically you can't just be a Jedi. You can't just be this pure, selfless, giving person. We all have the temptation to the dark side, or we all flirt with the dark side. And that's okay. That's part of being, but you have to literally have to balance, and whatever that means to you. So again, going back to like what you were saying though with Anakin and getting married, he would have been okay because he could have found balance in between push and pull of selfishness and selflessness. And that's something in space fantasy, Star Wars, and in real life, we all have to do. And I think that's a beautiful message that's throughout all the movies of kind of this great philosophy of life being like, we all want to be Jedi. We all, hopefully, most of us, strive to be Jedi. But you're going to fall, you're going to stumble, you're going to have your bad days where you're mean, but you you have to balance and find that balance within yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so good, Jason. This is seriously like, should we? Here, I'll just throw this out there. Should we just like teach our kids Star Wars? Like they, start at 5 years old and they just watch the movies and they're like, what does this mean? And then as they get to like high school, they're like, well, how do you put this into play? How are you bringing your light and your dark side into every day?
Yeah.
Honestly, it might be.
No, and I think there's a reason why these movies are taught in colleges of mythology, because that's the thing. What is a myth? A myth is a fable. It's a tale that's meant to teach a lesson. And as going back all the way to 1973, George Lucas said he wanted to create a myth. He wanted to create a modern mythology, that something that, because the Western was kind of dying out in popularity, and we were dealing with kids that were coming out of Vietnam, and space was the to quote another franchise, the final frontier. And he created what he set out to do, a mythology that's going to outlast any of us. People are going to be talking about Star Wars and having these kind of conversations and pulling things out decades from now. And he did it. It's kind of amazing.
It is kind of, it's super amazing. I go down like obsession things, but now I know what we're going to be doing for the next, couple months. Not just Christmas movies.
Star Wars are kind of Christmas movies.
I know they are. Just kind like of. That one. I can't remember what it was. There's like one that everyone considers a Christmas movie, but it's really not a Christmas movie. But yeah, I love talking to my boys about this. Well, what did that make you think? And then, they always have their own insights and views about things. It's quite amazing being, a parent and like relearning it and living it with your children.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's the beautiful thing too. And it's like I said too, they'll get into it on a level of like, that it looks cool and there's cool things for kids, and they'll ask questions, and sometimes unexpected questions, and make you think, there's just, like I said, there's so many levels going on in those movies. So
I find, yes, it's amazing. Gosh, and obviously you've learned a lot through your entire life of being connected to Star Wars.
Maybe too much. Yeah, maybe way too much. Yeah.
No, but I love this because then it's given you so many other opportunities just in your life, with being able to go places and start something beautiful with your best friend, and then you get to spend more time together, and that's so important. And I love it.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And just from this, silly little podcast that we did, literally traveling the world and doing these amazing things. And like you said, like we did, we've done panels. We did a panel in California. We did 2 just this year in Japan, like we talked about, and been to countless. Star Wars doesn't call them conventions. They're conventions, but they call them celebrations, which is very fitting. Okay. Because a Star Wars you would love a Star Wars celebration, especially you, and choosing joy, because a Star Wars celebration is it's such a magical thing, and it's hard to describe to someone who hasn't been there, because like you describe it to someone and they're just like, oh, well, it's just like, it's a Star Wars convention and there's a bunch of, Star Wars nerds running around doing Star Wars stuff. And it's like, yes, but the only thing I can relate it to, like, if I said to you, the best concert you've probably ever been to in your life, and you probably in your head know what that is. It's not just the music. It is the music, but it's also, there's a collective energy in the crowd that resonates also within you, that takes it to something like beyond the music, of a group feeling of happiness, of joy, that is, it's there's something else in the air. And that's a Star Wars celebration where you have all these people there from literally all over the world who love this thing, which at its core is so good and so joyful. And everyone is so happy to be there that there's just a literal energy in the place that you're in, of just a feeling of happiness. And, you get people that go to a Star Wars celebration and they go to one and they say, I'm never going to miss another one ever again. If they do it in Japan or if they do it in England, I'm going to be there, because it's a group feeling, and everyone there, you can't help being happy. Everyone there is just like, it's hugs and it's smiles, and it's kind of like, I love it because it's like, this is the spirit of Star Wars for real in the flesh on the planet Earth. This is like just a feeling of happiness and joy. So anyways, that was my rant about Star Wars celebrations, that they're absolutely magical.
Well, I thought I heard that there's one in Michigan and you have to dress up. Like you can't go in with like a Star Wars shirt on. Like you have to be in character. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's the Motor City Comic Con. Oh no, there's a Space Dive. There's Space Dive where I've never been to one because I don't dress up. But
I was going to ask you, if you were going to dress up, what would you dress up as?
See, no. I'm so tall, and I can't see anything without my glasses, and I'm like, what would I do? Because I can't. And it's like, I don't know if I want to go through all that, because I was like, I could be a really good Darth Vader, but I'm also like, I don't know. Like, do I have the time for that? I don't know. And then it's like, I wouldn't be able to see anything without my glasses. I literally would be like wandering around. So I'm good. Like the way I think, I'm like, and there's people that look absolutely incredible at Space Dive. Space Dive, looks amazing. There's people that love it. It's a whole community now, which is great, and more power to them. But also I'm like, it's almost like I do so much, like just like my rants earlier in your podcast today. It's like, sometimes I'm like, sometimes I need a Star Wars break, Sometimes it's like I'm doing the podcast and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need more.
Yeah.
I don't need more Star Wars right now. I just got to take a little breather.
Just stick to the celebrations and not that. I looked at those pictures. I actually followed them, and I noticed you followed them too on Instagram, because someone told me, oh, you'd like that, because we like Renaissance Festival and really dressing up all the way. And I was like, what would I dress up as? And I probably would go towards more of like a person from one of the planets, just like as my own self.
Yeah.
But I would just like look like they wear like some of them wear like teal and gray, or like this or that. Like I'd probably just go with that style.
Yeah. You could do anything really and just say it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can get away with it.
Yeah, just say that. Yeah. I mean, I just like to dress up. That's what what it boils down to for me. But I really want to go, my older son Lucian's really into lots of things, but Star Wars is one of them. And I should have done the interview from his room, because he's got all this really cool art. Like abstract Star Wars art in his room.
Oh,
it's
neat.
like every like adult man's like dream to have that cool of a room really for themselves, but he's just doing it now. Anyways, we've gone to the Comic-Cons, and I find it really cool, like that, when people dress up in anything that they like, because it brings them so much happiness. Like no matter what, if it's an anime or if it doesn't matter what it is, but it's just really cool.
Yeah, it is.
If people want to take pictures with you and stuff like that, like I think Jude went to a Comic-Con with his best friend, and they dressed up as Castle Crashers, but everyone thought that they were the Knights That Say Ni. I think I said that right.
From Monty Python. Yeah. That's great.
And they never even watched that movie. They don't even know what they're talking about. So like the 40-year-old women are taking a picture of them because of that, but then the little kids want to take a picture of them because they're Castle Crashers. So anyways.
How fun.
I know. So yeah, I don't know. There's just so much joy that Star Wars brings to people. And it's obviously bringing people together in community in many different ways, and through podcasts like yours. And we have other friends who are obsessed with Star Wars too. They know everything about it. They love it so much. And it just, obviously, it brings them a lot of happiness.
And that's the thing too. Like going to celebrations too. So, and it's funny because it's like, it kind of relates back to what we were talking about, like with the pleasure, the short lasting pleasure versus joy in giving to others, because it's an interesting thing where I think it was because Gabe and I went to celebrations for the prequels in 2002 and 2005. And then we went before there was a podcast in 2015 in California. And then we did Orlando. But then when we did in 2019, there was a celebration in Chicago. And that was after 3 years of doing the podcast. And that was kind of an amazing one because we weren't expecting it, but we got stopped a lot by people at Celebration Chicago who knew who we were, and people recognized our voices, and it happened like a lot. And it was, and now we're pretty used to it. And it was neat in Japan last April. It was much more international audience at that show, getting stopped by people from all over the world that listen to Blast Points. And it's not, it's funny because it doesn't go to my head at all, or Gabe, really. It's more of just like a really, really neat feeling. Because what I'm trying to say is people come up to us, and Gabe and I talk about this, every single person that comes up to us, a lot of times they come up to us smiling, or they come up to us already laughing for some reason, or they feel like they know us already, or people just come up to us and want to give us a hug, like out of the blue, and we're like, yeah, sure, come on in. But we're just like, God, it's so... and the feedback we get from real life human beings face to face at these things, it's always so happy and so joyous. And they tell us how much fun they have listening to our podcasts and stuff. And, for Gabe and I, it's just like us talking on a Thursday night, and like me in my basement and him in a room in his house. And we'll just like, okay, we'll see you next week, But you don't think about who is on the other end, and there's real people on the other end, and it's just such a neat feeling. And again, that's giving. It's kind of like at a certain point, it's not even about us anymore. It's because we've been doing it for 10 years. In January, we're doing the show for them, and the them is like this huge cloud of people. And that's really, it's a cool feeling. It's like, well, we have to. It's like if a new show is coming out, well, people are counting on us. We have to talk about it,
Yeah.
And that's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. And, maybe in the beginning, we started it for ourselves, of kind of like, I want to do this. But it changes, and it becomes about doing it for others. And it's taking it all back, taking it all full circle.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, Jason, you are just like so kind and sweet and just like so knowledgeable about so many things, just life, obviously Star Wars, but just life. And I think that's really amazing that you're putting it out there, because it's sharing your gift and not keeping it in, so more people can learn and grow in different ways.
And I'd love to say
Even
it was
when
all
it's funny.
Yeah, and I'd love to say it was all like on purpose, but it's like, it kind of just became like, oh, all these people listen to us and people really like what we're doing. Oh, okay, that's great. This is amazing.
Yeah, that feels so good. Oh, like one person writes me about I could take one comment and I'm like, oh, I touched someone's heart, or someone listened and they got something out of it. It feels so nice in my heart.
That's the thing, like what you're saying, even right there, you're not like, yeah, because I'm the best, I'm awesome. You're even there saying like, I'm so glad I made you feel good.
Yeah.
Or someone else
feel a little bit better.
Yeah. And that's that's the right way to do it, I think,
I feel exactly the same. So I've almost had you for an hour, and you know,
My
because
gosh, okay.
you listen to, I know, rapid fire questions. Have you been
Yeah.
waiting pretty much
Yeah, for
your
a
whole
while
life for
now. Yeah,
this?
yeah, pretty much my whole life. Basically my whole life. Yeah, yeah.
So of course I changed them just for you.
Okay, all right, all right, all right.
You know, and what the people want to know, what I want to know.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Let's get started, and we will start with Shelley's rapid fire.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Who shot first? Who shot first, Han or Greedo?
Um, it depends on what version you watch. I it doesn't matter as much to me. I okay, I get both sides. I get that
Mm-hmm.
Hans. People get mad because they changed it to Greedo shoots first because people thought it added to Han's character that he was more of a scoundrel and he shot first.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas said that he pretty much just straight up murders Greedo, which I also get. Han Solo is not a murderer. He's a scoundrel, but he's a softie at heart. He's good-hearted.
Yeah.
He cares deeply about his friends and Leia, who he loves. He cares so much about Luke Skywalker that he goes out on a tauntaun in I don't know what 0-degree weather in the middle of nowhere to find Luke in the middle of nowhere, laying in the snow somewhere. That's how deeply Han cares about people. So, would Han really kill Greedo straight up like that? I don't know. But I also get it that people like it about Han. So uh, I'm 50-50. Who shot first depends on what version you watch and depends on how you feel about Han Solo, honestly. I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, Sheldon Turpin. That's
Yeah.
what you get for that one. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, ask him this one. And I'm like, okay, can you explain to me what it means? Because I don't know what it means. And then. So it's whatever you want to see, people.
It's whatever you want to believe. Whatever you want to believe, that's fine.
Yes. What is your favorite pizza?
Oh my God. It's very on the note. Pizza's probably my favorite food in the world. And I'm a traditionalist. I like pepperoni. I like mushroom. I like a hybrid of a New York style. I like New York. I like being able to fold it and eating it like that way. But I like a thin crust, but not necessarily like truly New York. Not like those big New York. I like the big New York, but I don't have to have it. I like a homemade.
Okay.
I like a real, like if the sauce actually tastes like tomatoes, if the cheese is real cheese. They're some of the best pizza I've ever had. There's a place in Seattle called Rocco's, and that was some of the best pizza I ever had in my life. This sounds like cheating, but I don't think it is. In Disney World, in Epcot Center, in Italy, in the back of Italy, there's a big fountain in the Italy and Epcot Center, and in the back, there's a pizza place with wood fire pizza, and that was some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life.
Ooh, I like how specific that was.
Yeah, so I like but I'm also not a pizza snob. I will take pizza in any form, and I'll eat it a day later. If it's been sitting in the back room at work for a couple hours and the cheese is starting to get hard, I'll be like, it's fine. It's good for me. I'll eat Little Caesars. I don't care. But if we're going to get like, what is the ultimate? Yeah.
I love that so much.
I'll eat Hungry Howie's, Marco's, you name it. Domino's, give it to me, I'd rather not do Little Caesars. I like Little Caesars, but you roll.
If it's at a party, though, you just eat it.
Yeah. Why does Little Caesars taste better at parties? Like if somebody rolls in with like 6 Little Caesars, you're like, why does this taste so good? But if you get it like if it's your family and you're like, let's get Little Caesars, you're like, why did we get this? Anyways, nothing against Little Caesars. I don't want to ruin your sponsorship deal with Little Caesars.
I was just gonna say, aren't you trying to get a sponsorship?
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe it'll help. They'll try to do different, right?
Yeah, do better. Do better, Little Caesars.
I have to stop laughing. My face hurts right now. What is your zodiac sign?
Okay, so now you probably know more about this than I do. So I was born I'm born on January 20th. January 20th is my birthday. So, and in the past, I dated girls who were very, very, very into zodiac signs. And it'd be like, you're on the cusp. You're on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. And I'd be like, what does that mean? And so what does that mean? If I'm on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, because I'm like in the overlap of January 20th.
Yeah, so like different forms of zodiac, they believe like at a certain time of the day, let's say 6 p.m., it goes into the next sign, but it's very specific about like the moon placement and all these things. So what have you always gone by?
Aquarius. When like the textbook, the newspaper horoscope, like if you're an Aquarius, you're this, and this.
The state.
And I'm like, that's me, 100%. Aquarius. But then I'll read Capricorn stuff and I'll be like, I don't know, that's kind of close too. But I'd say more Aquarius, because like Aquarius, it's like, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. You're like, ooh, a little bit more. Yeah.
Right now we're in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the age of
a little hippy dippy.
I love it. There's 3 parts of your zodiac too, which we'll have to, you can give me your birthday information. I'll figure that out for you after. I guess we could have done it before, but so sometimes you're 2 other signs as well. And so, which you probably heard people talk about in the podcast, like they're like, oh, I'm this rising and this. So
I don't understand any of that.
Yeah, I'm not super good about it, and I actually usually forget mine, but like all my best friends will know. But like there's so many different forms of zodiac too. There's like a Kabbalistic view, which would change the dates all around, and I just don't want to, get you too like, But for everyone listening, and I know that there will be some people that are like, I need to know his sign, and now they know.
Yeah, do research on me. Feel free. Like
send it over.
Yeah, hit me. Feel free. Hit me up. I'm easy to find. Send me if you got questions. If you want to know what time I was born, I'll get out that birth certificate. I'll let you know.
I know.
I'm open.
Wait. Go ahead.
No, I'm open. I'm open to learning more.
It is. It's really cool because we were talking before we started too about human design, and I actually didn't even ask you if you had looked up what your human design was.
See, that's the thing. I looked it up. But that's the thing. Like, I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because literally before I started helping with your show, I was like, I think when I edited your first show and you were talking about human design, I was like, I don't know what they are talking about. And I just I Google searched it. And I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know what this is. But I was saying to you, I don't feel like it's something that I can just declare that I am this. I don't feel like
I'll write you about it more after. We'll talk about it like more deeper. So then maybe next time you can be like, this is what I am. And then you'll understand what that means a little bit. So we'll keep it a secret right now.
Okay. Yeah. Because I don't know, but I'm curious. And that's the thing. I'm cool with it all. I'm open to it all, but I just don't know much about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll send you a good podcast to listen to about it. Actually, not mine, someone else's. Yeah. Okay, next question. What's your favorite planet? And you can take that however you want.
Oh, Earth.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had no idea how you would respond to that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe this goes in with like human design or something. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm all like I feel like I'm always surrounded by pessimists. And I get it, especially nowadays where they're coming from. But I am optimistic. I'm very optimistic about the future and everything. But I think that humans, us in general, I think people are good. And I love people, and I love seeing people doing good things. And I think that good will win overall. It always does. And I like traveling. I like seeing different cultures. I like seeing different kinds of people. And I like seeing how no matter where you go, people are all the same everywhere you go. And we all have things that we all have in common. And even if people are so incredibly different or grew up on different sides of the world, we all have things that we all share. And I think that's really awesome. So, and I think Earth, I think humans I think we're all pretty awesome. Star Wars, my favorite planet. Visually, I would say Naboo. I think is really cool and really pretty. I think Tatooine is really fun. I like when we go back to Tatooine and stories. Coruscant is really neat. The city planet. Yeah, I don't know. But I would say Naboo. I think Naboo is really cool.
Yeah.
I like that they are ruled by a young queen, and I like their kind of Italian Art Deco kind of style they have. I like all that. That's really cool.
Oh, I love that. That's one thing I love about Star Wars is just visually everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's what I told you before. I'm like, I love that. Even the outfits and everything, so cool.
So many geniuses that have worked on those movies, just across the board.
It's amazing. What's your favorite hot drink?
Oh, coffee.
Same. That's what's in this.
Yeah, same. Coffee. Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
I like tea. And I'll have tea if tea's available, but I would rather have coffee.
Yeah. I do, even like at 10 o'clock at night, I'd like a cup of coffee.
I don't think it affects me. No, that's the thing too. Like my wife will be like, "Why are you drinking coffee at 9:30 at night?" And like, it's not going to faze me.
Delicious.
I'm broken. Yeah. Like caffeine and me, just nothing happens.
I think it works in the morning, but then after that, it doesn't do like it's okay. Just
no,
whatever.
And maybe you're like me too. I can fall asleep just like I. In the past 5 years, I can think of 2 times where I couldn't fall asleep. And when I can't fall asleep at night, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I falling asleep? Because usually I can just roll over and go to sleep, But, yeah, it doesn't faze me at all.
Who is your favorite character? And that doesn't have to be Star Wars, but it can be. Think about how you like.
Yeah, I'll say Star Wars. Probably Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love the journey of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love that Obi-Wan Kenobi, like I was saying earlier, that he starts very by the books, and the Obi-Wan we see in the prequels, he's very rules. This is the way we do it. This is the Jedi way. And I love that the Obi-Wan that Alec Guinness played in the original film is so laid back, so chill, and so, he's very much, you must do what you feel is right, of course, and you must learn the ways of the Force. And he's very sly with Luke. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Luke doesn't know what that means. And he's not kind of telling him, listen, kid, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I knew your father. I did this and I did all that. Luke says, you fought in the Clone Wars? And he's like, yeah, I was just once a Jedi Knight. He's very, very, very humble. But also, when he's fighting Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi is so powerful in the Force that all he has to do is close his eyes and he becomes one with the Force and vanishes. You're not going to beat me. He says to Vader, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And it's true. His not being a physical body is more powerful than him being... almost Obi-Wan being a physical body is holding him back. Because once Obi-Wan becomes one with the Force, he's everywhere. He's with Luke constantly. He's on Dagobah with Luke and Yoda. He's when Luke is blowing up the Death Star, he's whispering in Luke's ear. He's everywhere. But all Obi-Wan has to do is close his eyes and be like, you know what? Peace out. I'm going to vanish. That's how powerful in the Force Obi-Wan has become. And that is... light years from where we saw him as a young man, as Ewan McGregor in the prequels. And I think that journey is really, really, really cool. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I love it. I can see you liking that so much, like the humbleness and all that. That's perfect.
I love. Yeah, old man Obi-Wan is definitely. I love every single line he says, and that's why we called the podcast Blast Points, because that's an Obi-Wan line where he says these blast points, and it just had a nice ring to it, and it's an Obi-Wan line, so that's why we picked it.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's a nice little nugget. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What does joy mean to you?
You know, and I'll take it back to Star Wars, and I'll take it back to like what we were saying with those George Lucas talks, where it's giving, it's giving to others, and you know we're both parents, and I talked about this before, where it's like I still feel like one of the most important things I did is that when my daughter was born, I stopped working. It was my wife and I made this decision, and I still think it's maybe one of the most important things I did in my life, because it was just that, where it was like, I'm going to put my life and all these things I'm doing on hold for the better of this little baby, you know, where I'm going to make sure I'm there for her all the time, which I was. Which you know can be tough, but it's also very, 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 very rewarding. And that was kind of me learning that process, where, you know, naturally, most people, not all people, but when you have children, it's kind of this, you know, the world's, you know, you go from being this like 20-year-old a lot of times, where it's all about you, and like the George Lucas thing of the chasing pleasure. But kind of like when you're responsible for the life of someone else, you kind of realize, well, it's not about me anymore. I mean, it is, but also it's not. It's more, you know, this person is on this planet because of me and your partner. So this person is kind of more my responsibility. And so that was kind of joy to me, and kind of like hearing those things and thinking about those things in Star Wars as mythology, lesson teaching stories. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it now. So I guess, to answer your question, that's joy, giving and selflessness.
That is the most beautiful thing ever. My uncle also stayed home with my nephew my cousin, when he was born, and I actually know a lot of dads who have done this, and I think it's really beautiful, and how it works for each family is so different. And
well, there's so many amazing moms that do it too, and you know, in whatever way it works for families. And there's families that can't do it, and you know, and that's, you know, not saying that this is like, it's like the only way people should do it. It's different for everyone, but you know, for me, and for myself, it was a great taking myself out of the game, kind of, and recentering my focus, you know, which was really awesome.
It's beautiful and life-changing. Oh, Jason, this has been like an amazing conversation, and I feel like I don't even know much about Star Wars. Like, I mean, I know I've watched everything, but like, just the connection we did for like life here on Earth, and then also with Star Wars, is absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited for everyone to hear your words and connect to you more with yours and Gabe's podcast, Blast Points. And I'll have everything in the show notes too, like how to connect to you guys and check out your amazing podcast. It's good.
Oh,
it's so good.
Yeah, we're easy.
And I have no idea what I'm even thinking.
Yeah, we're easy to find, and you know, and sometimes I know it literally sounds like we're speaking an alien language, because we go deep and we talk about some crazy stuff, but yeah.
Yes.
So.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm truly grateful for everything about you.
Oh, well, no, thank you. And I'm grateful for you too. Thank you.
Thank you.